This show is now beginning. Don't forget to share us and support us via the links and buttons. Welcome to the Anshine Show, where your mental fitness is our business. We are here to guide you through the difficult times in your life and to expose those who cause you difficulties. We do not manipulate context, we expose it. Enjoy our podcast, share this podcast with your friends and families, encourage the others to be an active audience of our podcast, and donate to our podcast via our Anchor podcast link. Buy our books on Amazon.com by typing Shinean into the Amazon.com search box. Thank you. And now for something completely different.
Hi, my name is Ashley Adamson, and today we are talking about anal sex. It's kind of like it's a unique concept for trans women, I think, because it's not exactly anal sex for men and it's not exactly anal sex for women. So I thought this might be valuable for you to talk about my experience, the pluses and minuses of the anal sex experience, and some tips on how to work it if you haven't done it before. By the way, if you are recently transitioning or looking to embrace your femininity, I have some programs up on my website which you can check out, and if you buy it, it supports me, a trans owned business that helps trans people. And if you also want to support me on Patreon, thank you for doing that. I so appreciate it. So with anal sex, where do I start? I'll start with, what do you do? How does it work out? If you are someone who has not done anal sex prior, I was not a gay man, I was a straight man. And then moving over to being a bottom is kind of like a whole new experience. It was super validating, as I talk about my other video where I changed sexualities, because by being a bottom, it feels validating. It feels like I'm giving up to releasing and letting go. And that's a huge part of anal sex, because you really do have to let go. You have to kind of let go of your control, because if you try to control, your anus is going to be all tight and it's not going to feel as good. Or maybe, you like it a little tight, but I mean, you don't want it to be that kind of tight. I've had it where my anus contracted and it kind of tore my anus a bit in the middle of sex, which was kind of messed up, you stop sex and then that's over. So you really kind of want to take care of how you go about and do this. I think the big thing for me coming into anal sex was, wait, so I have to do anal sex? That's my only possibility of receiving is basically doing oral or anal sex because I don't have a vagina. This is kind of a problem when you don't have a vagina. You don't have the vagina option. It's anal or it's oral, and that's it. And anal for women is just as potentially painful and something that you need to really kind of ease into. And with HRT, your prostate shrinks, so you don't get the same kind of pleasure as a gay man might, because the size of the prostate, which is inside your anus, is not going to get stimulated in the same way. But with all that said, my experience of anal sex has grown a lot, and I've learned a lot of how to really turn what was initially a very uncomfortable experience into, I'd say, a pleasurable experience, and sometimes intensely pleasurable experience. But most of the time, it's kind of I'm continuing to work with feeling a little bit of discomfort and also feeling a bit of pleasure. The most interesting thing I'd have to say about that is probably that The pleasure is less the physical sensation and more of the energetic and the feeling. When someone is ramming me and really just going for it, like when was it? Was it just a few days ago? It was on Sunday. I had sex. It's been a while. I probably said this in some of my earlier videos that I've been really horny, and I finally had some sex. And he really went for it. And he had a really, he was very large and very long and pushed deep inside me to the point where I could feel a little bit of discomfort, like sharp discomfort. In anal sex, it's kind of like you go as far as your body is comfortable. And the bigger the dick, the deeper they're gonna go. And if you are going, and if he's touching places that you haven't touched before, your nerves inside are going to automatically fire and say, oh, this is bad, this is wrong, and kind of contract and react to it. So when it comes to anal, there's also a getting used to it phase where you really have to reteach your body that you're not going to be pooping and that you're receiving pleasure. I clean out down there, and I have this really great tool. It's like a lube injector. It literally looks like an injector, and you just kind of put lube in it and you put it up your butt and you inject it in there. And that really makes anal sex, especially with condoms, way better, because if you just put the lube on top of the penis, on top of the condom, then it kind of just goes wherever the penis goes, but it can get rubbed off a lot on the entry. And so using the lube injector fills my anal cavity, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking about this, with lube. And that makes it way more lubricated and pleasurable, and it gives a lot more extensibility. By the way, this is the best lube. I wish I was sponsored, but I'm not. Maybe I'll put the link down in the description below, and maybe if you buy it through my link, I'll get a little bit of money because referrals, right? But yeah, this is Pure, and it's a silicone personal lubricant, super concentrated, and you can use it for anything. I'll probably link the Analyze Me version, which is like specific for just anal, but this works just as well, and I use it a lot with condoms because you can't use an oil. But if I am if I am liquid bonded with a partner, then I'll just use coconut oil, because coconut oil, it just works magic. It's so good for you, and it's good for your body, and the lubrication that you get out of it is just like phenomenal. So if you're having unprotected sex, I highly recommend coconut oil. You can't use coconut oil for silicone or for latex because it'll burn the latex. Never use any kind of oil for latex because you don't want to burn it. Your anal cavity is super sensitive, and it's also highly absorbent, which means that you'd be up to risk for all sorts of STDs if you are using a condom and oil. Where do I want to share things that are super important? I think like the most important thing is like pleasure, like finding your pleasure. As a person that topped and went to bottom, like, I mean, are you trying out anal? Like, where are you in the anal spectrum in your experience? Like, are you finding pleasure with it? The process that I have really found has worked for me is to play with dildos, to go at my own pace, to explore my body, to find what can start to feel good. And that helps me relax more into the actual sex. Also, what was super huge and pivotal for me was actually to just communicate with the partner that when they put it in me, to just kind of slowly ease it in and just let it be there for a little bit so she kind of adjusts and gets used to it, and slowly build up to more like intense sexual action. That has helped a lot, because if you come in too fast and you just kind of stick it in there, the body can have all sorts of violent reactions, and it doesn't work like a vagina. It just doesn't. So yeah, like that's something super important. The other thing is I do douche, but I don't douche regularly. I just douche when I think it's a good time, and I don't do exhaustive douching, mostly because I don't want to clean out my gut biome. I've done a lot of research on this, and I think it's debatable whether or not you're actually cleaning out much of any significant gut biome, since it's it's near the end of your intestine. But I just don't like the idea of like rinsing out too much of my gut biome. So I give it a quick rinse, and then that's it. I think like also like the way that you respond and feel and express your feelings as you're receiving anal is also part of the sexual experience, wouldn't you say? And when I mean, sometimes like I am in control of the sounds that I make up to a point. When he's going in there super deep or super hard, I just start making noises, and I start to squeak sometimes, to be honest. And it's super hard when he takes charge, and I really try my best to focus on getting through it sometimes, rather than saying, oh, stop, this doesn't feel good, or I feel like I'm gonna fart or something like that. Sometimes you just have to kind of go with the flow, and that's a part of the anal experience, is just like letting go, submitting to that position that you're in, and just enjoying it because of that. And I think that's kind of the greater pleasure that I've found with anal sex. I don't know about you, but I think the greater pleasure of anal sex has not been the anal sex itself. It's been the letting go, letting someone else take charge, letting someone else lead, and feeling like I am the one who is now like opening and kind of giving myself to someone who is now having pleasure. I'm like a total sub and a bottom in that way. And then I think like one more thing would be, what was I about to say? I kind of like went on a fork here. I think like anal toys are great, a really great way to kind of work with it. Yeah, I mean, like there's the whole process of getting ready, which you can find anywhere. It's like fingering, going slow, and then kind of progressing. I think like I'm not by any chance a professional anal receiver in any, like I feel like there's people who are way better at it because they train and they exercise, and that's definitely something you can benefit from in training. But my approach has been to actually allow my partner to experience the evolving process that my body has with them, because I think that's special. I think it's special for your partner to see where your limits are when you start, and how your limits progress and change and shape shift as you adjust and become more acclimated, and you can feel like you've done that together. Doesn't that feel more special and intimate? I think it does. And I think that like just trying to be the perfect anal bottom is not really as rewarding as having that experience unfold together. Oh yeah, one last tip. Chastity cages. I have experimented with chastity cages, and those have really actually helped show my body how to have more pleasure with anal. Because when you're having sex and you have potentially front pleasure and back pleasure, your body kind of gets wrapped up on where to find pleasure. And when I get aroused and I start playing with myself in the front, my body can lose track of the pleasure that's happening in the back. But when I put myself in a cage, that's the only way that I can receive pleasure. And that's hot and that's a cool idea, but actually it creates a lot more pleasure. I notice my brain and my body and the nerves start to focus a lot more pleasure in receiving. And I found a lot of new growth and development there by just doing that. So this is a little bit of a longer video. Thanks for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters out there for supporting me and making these videos. And if you want, you can check out my Embracing Femininity program, as well as my book, if you also want to support me in that way. And I'll see you in another episode. Bye. like anal sex. Maybe you don't like anal sex, but is that the only way that you can receive sex? If you're like me, that's kind of the position that you're in. I am trans, I'm a trans woman, and if I want to have sex like a woman, the only way that I can do that is through anal. So even if you're not trans, you can benefit from this, but I'm basically going to talk about everything that I've learned about how to have more pleasure when having sex anally, and some of the tips that I want to add on from my previous video of Anal Academy Part 1. So this is Anal Academy Part 2, so to speak. If you're new to this channel, I do a lot of personal growth stuff, and I also talk a lot about sex and sex therapy. That's kind of a big topic of mine. So check it out. Check out some of the other videos. So for this Anal Academy Part 2, I'm gonna go into douching, pleasure as a pussy, which is specific for trans women, communication with your partner, and the insertion and other tips like physicals tips as well as mental space. We'll see how much we have to go through in this video. I might have to cut it short because there's a lot in here. But I thought I'd give you more tips as I've been having a lot of sex with my boyfriend recently. Well, first of all, this is my first boyfriend, which means now I can have sex all the time, and it's really great because we can go deeper and deeper intimately, which is fantastic. So let's talk about douching, because douching is one of those things that I feel like you can get really caught up on in a way where it can really mess with your head. It can feel like a chore. I don't know if you've done douching before, but doesn't it feel weird? Don't you feel a little dirty, or you feel like messy, or that it's just like this thing that you just don't want to do? And then if you want to have sex, let's say every night, it's just this big thing. So I want to take a little bit of that complexity out of it for you, so that way you'll have a lot less mental burden when you do this, and also some tips around thinking about this that's going to make this experience better for you. So the first thing is put lube on your doucher if you're going to douche. Let's take one step back before looping your douche. You don't have to lube. The anal wall in your inside is actually kind of lubricated, and if you just add some lube, it should be pretty solid. But you want to make sure that if you are not douching, that you're approaching it at a time where you have a pretty clean bowel. So it's like sometime after you've pooped, and making sure that that poop consistency, that should be another topic, that poop consistency is not juicy, not like super liquidy. Like the more liquid it is, the more likely you're gonna have poop stuck somewhere in your body. I've had sex when the poop is more solid, and when you poop that out, it's very clean. And even if you have little parts within you, if they're more like balls, then they might just be inside you, and someone can have sex and it won't really interrupt your business. So that's kind of like the non-douche approach. If you want to do that, you just want to have solid poop. And the best way to do that is to treat your diet with high fiber, to get things with high fiber in it that can really help make it more solid. If you eat foods like spicy food, or if your diet kind of like causes you to react to something like alcohol, that's going to mess with your system. And so you kind of do need to monitor your diet to do anal properly in a way where it's going to be less douching and less effort and less anxiety around it. Now, one thing that I would say, one last thing on the diet tip, is eating spicy food for me, drinking alcohol, those kinds of things really messes with my bowels. And so that means I have to douche a lot more, and it makes me feel a little bit more anxious because there's more opportunities for things to slip out. I should probably mention, you probably should grab a pad and a paper to write some of this down, because there's a lot in here. We haven't even gotten to the douching part, so I'll probably have to make another part 3 to kind of follow through on this. So, douching. First thing is, you should lube. Now, that sounds obvious, but for some people, you may be like, I don't want to get out the lube. I don't want to have to find the lube and put it on, and then the lube gets on my hands. Yeah, no, you should lube. I have done douching without lubing, and there has been a time where the pointing part, the part that you insert in to inject liquid in, actually tore a bit of my anal wall, and that caused it to be inflamed, and it hurt. And then I had to wait several weeks for it to heal, because once you tear your anal area, it takes a long time for it to heal because of what it's constantly exposed to in terms of bacteria and healing. So always lube up so that way you never hurt yourself and you don't think you, like I thought I might have had an STI and then I was suddenly paranoid about that. Thank God that wasn't the case. So lube. The next thing is there isn't a science to douching. Like there isn't like exact perfect way to do things. I think the way that you want to think about douching is you want to think about it in terms of what's going to make you feel cognitively secure, because that's ultimately what you're trying to douche for. If you're douching, is you want to make it so that you can feel clean, that you feel like you're not going to have any hiccups in your sexual experience, and that it's just going to be a clean, easy ride where the person's going to insert, they're going to pull out, and everything's going to look gravy, or not gravy, but you know what I mean. Here's what I've figured out is the best way to do this is to have a method that gives you the highest amount of confidence. So you can just say, all right, this is the best practice. This is what I do. I do it every time. And, sometimes things may not go well as I want them to, but I know that this is pretty rigorous. And if I wasn't able to prevent it, then I wouldn't have just been able to prevent it. Because you can get super wrapped up in this and get a little paranoid, and you can just keep on douching and spending like 20 minutes in the bathroom, which is just like so unwieldy, wouldn't you say? So the thing that I would say is you want to do, here's what I do. I take the douching thing and I fill it with warm water, or whatever feels body appropriate, but not hot, because your anal cavity doesn't actually have the ability to have enough of a sensor for something too hot. So if you put scalding water in, you may not feel like it's scalding, but it could actually burn you inside. It's pretty sensitive. So you want warm, so that way it doesn't shock your body either. Put warm water in there. I insert it. I fill my cavity up, and then I actually take another one and I fill that up with more water, and then I give it another insert and inject that in there. So I have a little extra water. Now, the reason why I do this double is because I want the water to go up a bit to catch anything that's drifting around or that is kind of stuck on the wall. So that way, when I clean out this first flush, there's a good general cleaning. So I'll do that, and I'll sit down on the toilet and then let everything come out, and I'll monitor and see what's coming out, so I can see, what's the texture like? How much is coming out? Does it feel like I'm going to need to do a lot more, or is it seeming sort of okay? So I'll do that double douche. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I do like a little hop. I do a couple hops just to kind of shake it up inside. Yeah, just shake it up. But just a little bit. If you shake it a lot, you can create some air bubbles inside your intestines, and then that's going to make it it's going to make liquid get stuck inside you. So you're going to feel like you've completed your douching, but there's actually more that will need to douche out in a bit. And I've had experiences where in the middle of sex, that little bit of extra liquid will come out, and then suddenly it stained my bed and it stained the situation. So you want to do a little shake. You don't want it to kind of fill your complete anal cavity. So you do a shake or a jump. And then what I do then is I do a single douche to follow up the double douche. So a single one, and then like a little shake, and then I clean out. And then from there, it's kind of based on the texture, based on what I know with my body and how I'm feeling. I could do a follow-up, but at that point, I feel pretty solid. I've done a double douche and a single douche, and I could do one more follow-up just to be sure. That seems like a good setup, generally speaking. If you'd like to be sure of things, what you can do is you can take your finger and kind of stick it up there to check. And I typically use my middle finger or this finger. I tend to use this finger for some reason because it just seems like a better angle for inserting. But I'll stick it in there, and I'll kind of like poke around and see if there's any areas within my cavity that feel like I just need to kind of pull stuff out. And that'll give me a lot of confidence. I don't always do that because you can also scratch yourself in there, and then that's going to make you a little uncomfortable. So I try to avoid that. The other thing that I kind of mentioned is reading your poop and like making sure that it's kind of like fitting, like it's knowing if it's hard or stool. And then the last part is cleaning, because you don't want to clean yourself with toilet paper, because now you're going to get toilet paper stuck on your butt, and that's not going to look good. So what I do is I just grab a little soap, rub it around my area, and clean it off with my hand and some soap, and then I'll just take a towel and kind of rub myself down because I've now cleaned my anal area. It's kind of like a douching shower kind of experience. So that's all of the douching related stuff, and I guess that is part 2. We've covered a lot, and that's just douching, so I'll have to make part 3, which will be the next video. So I'll see you in part 3 shortly. I'm Ashley Adamson, and if you want to support me, please check me out on Patreon. I would love your support, and join our Discord community down below. We'd love to have you. I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.
You are listening to the Anshin A Show. This is the end of part 1.
We will now take an quick intermission. Enjoy our break content presented by Penavegu Entertainment Group International and Ahamingak today.
Está delicioso. I'm hungry. Tengo hambre. お腹すいた。グランサラド。これdelicioso. Comamos. Está rico. Hola chicos, great. Bienvenido a Kana-chan TV. Yay! メキシコのグロサリーストアに行ってたくさんメキシコのお菓子を買ってきました。なんか美味しそうやなと思ったりとか、ちょっとこれなんやろなっていうものをたくさん買ってきたので、 ご紹介したいと思います。Let's get started. Empecemos. Empecemos. 飲み物からいこうかな。マンゴーネクターと、これよく見るよね、この会社名。ゴーヤテマリンド。これがね、何か分からへんの。What is this? タマリンド。これが分からないのと、あとこれなんか美味しそうやった。美味しそうってなんて言うんだっけ。セベリコ。これセベリコ。これもね、美味しそう。バナナソーダ。これもね、セベリコよ。で、じゃーん、ニューアイテム。これがね、どう使うかというと、失敗これ。失敗しました。ハーブキー。いきますよ。ビッグサクセス。あれ、ここについてる。いただきますってなんて言うんだろう。いただきます。ボイヤー。いただいてみます。バナナソーダジュース。ちょっと甘いな。too sweet。でも日本のバナナガム、昔にあったロッテのバナナガムみたいな味がする。ちょっと私には甘いかもしれない。
Esto es dulce.
Understand?
Esto es dulce.
Esto es dulce.
Esto es dulce.
Esto es de La Coscada. La Cascada かな。Sabor de El Salvador かな。何味なんだろう。グレープソーダ。なんかちょっと不思議な味するな。少し変わった味がする。ちょっと甘いな。甘いかも。じゃあこれはタマリンド。これはね、ベジタブルなのかしら。でもよく見るよね、ゴーヤ。よく見るこれ。ネクター。これはきついかもしれん。無理かもしれん。草みたいな匂い。思ったのと違う。なんかサワーやわ。Esto es agrio. Esto es agrio.
Esto es agrio.
Esto es agrio.
Esto es agrio.
Esto es agrio. Es agrio やわ。これは。Esto es agrio やわ。これはね、ちょっと酸っぱいな。こっちいただきます。マンゴーネクター。ジュメックス。ホメックス。Worldwide Excellence in Quality。 あー、smells good。あー、美味しい。美味しいは知ってるよ。エスタリコ、エスタリコ、イエーイ、エスタリコ。ちょっとこうドロッとした感じで美味しい。これ美味しいわ。これいいですね。なんかね、甘いものが食べたい今だから、これにしてみよう。でかいの。クッキー用足す。サブローサトラディショナルソノレンス合ってんのかな。じゃあいただきます。いただきますが何だったかな。コマモス。あれ、さっき調べたのと違うねんけど。あれ、
Comamos.
コマモス、コマモス、コマモス。すんごいお腹空いてるんだよね。I'm hungry, I'm hungry よ。hungry。
Tengo hambre.
Tengo hambre.
Tengo hambre.
Tengo hambre. Tengo hambre. I'm hungry. Tengo hambre. お腹空いた。じゃん、でかっ。So big. Eso enorme.
Eso es 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 enorme. Oh. Eso es enorme. Oh. お、なんか美味しそう。セベリコ。Eso es enorme. Voy a。エスタリコ。エスタリコ。これエスタリコやわ。多分これナッツね。甘くて、でもそんなにめちゃくちゃ甘いわけじゃない。これ美味しい。これ美味しい。エスタリコだわ。エスタリコ。エスタリコ。トルティーカ。トルティーカでやってんのかな。キャマリオンボタネロシュリンプスナック。軽いやつ。ホットソースやと思うよな。ハッサ。そうだわ。タパティオ。これタバスコってことだよね。うわー、これ絶対辛いぞ。かわいいかわいい。いた。刺さった。おー、これはね、しょっぱすぎる。これはしょっぱい。ソルティやわ、ソルティ。おー、サラドトゥサラド、グランサラド。辛っ。
Muy picante.
Muy picante. Muy picante. お酒飲みの人にはいいのかな。メスタリコ。Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and thumbs up. Bye. Gracias. Adios. Nido TV. かなちゃん TV.
TV.
Hola chicos. Chicos.
Hola chicos gay. Bienvenido a Canal TV.
Hola chicos gay. Bienvenido, Kana-chan TV. もう一回
Hola chicos gay.
This intermission has now ended. Enjoy the rest of the show.
exist during this society. So what will happen to us though? We'll all be annexed instead. And that's the whole big problem though. The rebellion on that. Gay Kirby wants to start a brand new movement. What is this movement called? It's called Black Exit. The extradition of black people from America to others. I didn't know why, because he believes in white people. He also wants to start trans exit. He also wants to start gay exit. He also wants to start lesbian exit. Amongst the lesbian. So then that's become so a thing though, because he wants to extradite everybody who isn't conservative Christian. That says black. Nothing that Gay Kirby says is true. He's a part of a liar, I have to say. Because I know who he is personally. See, that's the whole big thing. His atrocities are atrocious. Nevertheless, it's amaurosis. They not even a word though, see, but it still matches them. Transphobic, homophobic. Nevertheless, these are things that Gay Kirby believes in. He stands up for these things. He loves white power. He's a racist, bar none. At the end of the day, however, this boy is not my son. Can't you see what it means to me? This boy is not my son. Gay Kirby is an idiot. This boy is number one. Number one, they hate for me. They never miss it fun. Can't you see what it means to me? This boy is not my son. But Gay Kirby doesn't want an education. He just wants to go and fight. Create a plague on humanity and divide us all. This might. That's the whole big problem though. Nevertheless, I tell you this, you see. We're going to hold him accountable and he will face justice in time.
pleasure is pussy. Let's talk about that. So, what does that even mean? So, as a trans woman, I don't have a vagina, all right? And that can change, but I currently do not have what is medically considered a vagina. Though I call, in a sexual setting, my ass my pussy, because it's like, that's my pussy. And you know, when he's on top and I'm like, oh, daddy, like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'll be like, oh, daddy, like, it feels so good in my pussy. It really feels like a good pussy. And he's like, oh, yeah, baby. And I'm like, yeah, this is so hot. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling you this. But like, so this is pleasurable. So this is what I figured out. This is how you make it pleasurable in a way that it feels like it's a pussy. And I'll just kind of say it like that because I will never know what it's like to have a cis vagina, but at some point I will know what it's like to have a vagina. So there's kind of two routes to this. The first route is to use a vibrator. If you do not like playing with your parts, the other route is actually to use a chastity device. Or, you know, if you're so disconnected with your parts, you can just ignore this advice and kind of just be like, well, this is all I got, and I ignore it, and I ignore the feeling, and I don't want to engage with it. But I mean, like, here's the thing. In order to make it feel more like a pussy, you have to increase your pleasure experience. The way that your brain and your subconscious engage with this part of your body, which is your anal cavity, and it's used to, and your anus, it's used to being only used and stimulated for pooping. So that's kind of this first hump you encounter is, wait a second, you need to teach the body to not feel like it's thinking that it's pooping, right? And this is where you play and you stimulate and you start to train your body to become used to this as a pleasurable thing. I think I just got something in my eye, so just 1 second. So to kind of like get this pleasure experience, you need to start teaching your body to feel pleasure, to experience pleasure, and to tell it and to tell your subconscious, this is a pleasurable experience. Learn to build your connections, brain, to this being a pleasurable experience. No, you're not trying to poop. No, like, this isn't you're on the toilet. This is something where I want you, and I'm talking to the brain and the body, to experience this as pleasurable. And so this is why I want to introduce the vibrator or the chastity device. So we'll start with the vibrator because that's kind of the most accessible and easier thing to do. If you can play with your parts. The vibrator, and you can touch many different areas, and I wasn't actually planning on doing this, so let me just zip up my pants a little bit. Oh my gosh, look at this. This kind of looks phallic, like this is a back massager. So when I'm using the vibrator, I'll use it right here on my clit, and this is pretty pleasurable for me. And so while I'm receiving the sex, I'll be pleasuring myself in a way that will keep me erect. And why that's important is because there's a line between, in your anus all the way around, there's a, let's see here, yeah. In your anus, or down from between your anus and to the front, there is a, there's kind of like this tube, which is kind of like it's attached to the penis, and it can be very pleasurable. And so when you keep that enlarged and engaged, it'll create a sense of pleasure that happens in your body and happens down inside your anal cavity. Now, this is not vanilla masturbation. think this is kind of a key in your mentality as you approach and experience this, you're gonna need to learn to actually focus the pleasure not on where you're stimulating, but allowing that stimulation to create a sensation in your erectness to go down into your anal cavity and actually focus the pleasure there. And so when you're feeling that pleasure, you can start to actually feel like the sex that you're having, it actually starts to feel like a vagina because you're engaging with your clit, I call it a clit, in a way that creates a connection with this pleasure. I don't have really good words to describe this, but like basically, you gotta kind of like go like this, and then you kind of, you can stimulate yourself there, and then you're having a great time. What the hell is this video? We're going very acrobatic on this one. So that was kind of a big eye-opener for me, because as I was having sex with my boyfriend, it felt so pleasurable and so right that I was like, oh my God, it feels like a pussy right now. It really does. And it feels like you can get me off. And I actually, after getting used to doing this, I actually came from anal sex without stimulating directly my clitoris, but stimulating that space in between and really focusing on the pleasure. And that is like game changing for me, because it transformed my sex from a place of, oh my God, like, I'm feeling this is a lot, to, wow, this is like pleasurable. Just kind of like how I see cis women with vaginas and how they feel like sex. It's no longer try to be present, try to be relaxed, try to manage the pain. Do you ever get that kind of sense when you're having anal sex, that you're trying to manage sometimes the pain or the discomfort? And this completely flipped the experience. The chastity aspect is another way of achieving this, and it's a little different, because instead what you're doing is you put the chastity on, and I mean, first of all, chastity can be like super kinky and hot, and like the power dynamics and all that, very into that. But for me, it didn't work so well due to medical reasons. I have like an epididymitis down there, and so it's a little painful. But I have experienced this enough to tell you, you can kind of shut off the pleasure region down there. And by doing that, you start to condition your brain and your body to look for other ways of receiving pleasure. And that's when it increases your receptivity to the pleasure that you can experience receiving. And I think that's a very hot and beautiful way to expand your pleasure center, by receiving anally. And if you're, what is it called that's inside the anal cavity that men can get cancer with? I'm forgetting the word, but when you take estrogen, basically this thing shrinks, and it means that your pleasure experience kind of shrinks as well. But I think you can still orgasm from anal if you just stick to a strict diet of chastity. It really depends on how estrogen affects your body. I definitely find it hard to experience anal pleasure without turning myself on through the vibrator path. So yeah, so that's kind of pleasure as pussy, and let me know in the comments below. This is a bit of a tricky video. We did a lot here. I hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, please join my community. My Discord community link is down below if you want to partake in the trans community. And check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye. Hi. Do you like anal sex? do you partake in anal sex? Are you perhaps one of those people that wants to improve your relationship with anal sex, or improve your relationship with your partner and anal sex, or just like find anal sex to be really painful and you wish it was more pleasurable? This is the video for you. We're going to talk about that today. So I have a lot of anal sex as a bottom and as a trans woman. There's not a lot of opportunity for me to have vaginal sex because I don't I don't have a vagina at this current time in 2022. I'm waiting till 2025, I think. But that means that I'm kind of in this position where I need to focus a lot on learning how to make anal sex better and more pleasurable, because it's not something that I really opted into. It's not something that I really want to do, but it's the only way that I can be the bottom in the power dynamic. I can have my man, and my man can, you know, have sex with me, and I can feel him on the inside, and that's really great. I love that. But, you know, sometimes it hurts. Have you had anal sex, or are you thinking about it? Sometimes it just hurts and it doesn't feel right. And so what I want to talk to you today about is some of the things around communication and building a better relationship with anal sex and having that with your partner. So I'm at my boyfriend's place, just for context. I'm in Berlin right now. I'm visiting him. And we've been having a lot of sex because, I mean, there's a lot of time to make up for not being together, and we've had sex almost every day. And it got to a point where I was like, you know, I don't think I could have sex every day because we're doing it and it's like 3 hours and it's starting to wear down on my body. I think if you were probably doing the same thing, maybe you might find that a bit of a wear down. So that's when it got me thinking, we actually need to start communicating more about anal sex, because it's not pleasurable to me and I don't desire it anymore because we're having it so frequently and with a lot of intensity. And he said, well, you know, I thought you liked length. I thought you liked it when you have a long amount of sex, and it's worked fine before when we were dating, when you lived here. And I agree. It worked fine, but now that we're living together for a month, there's so much more opportunities for sex. I just can't keep up with it, and my body can't. And this is where I had to say something along the lines of, well, you know, maybe I have to talk to you about how my anus is feeling. Like, how is it sore? Is it feeling like ready to go? Your anal area it's not the same thing every single day. Like, do you ever have these feelings of when you go to the bathroom, or even when you play yourself, you feel different down there? It's just, it ebbs and it flows, and it's different depending on if you've douched it or if you haven't douched it, or if you douched it several hours ago versus if you just douched it now. I have a whole anal academy on douching, by the way, if you want to see that. But like, talking about your anus as if it has weather, I think is a really great analogy. Like, how's it doing today? It's feeling a little sore, so we're gonna have to have sex a little slower today. Can you please be gentler at this moment? Because, I mean, he was going a little rough, but at times, I mean, it feels great. This is the other thing with communication and anal sex. If you can get to a point of comfort about communicating about the status of what's going on down there, you can give live updates, kind of like tweets, about where you're at right now in this moment. If your partner is using a condom, maybe that condom needs some more lube, so you can just say, hey, it's feeling a little dry on the sides. Can you put some more lube on the sides of your condom? Or if he's been hammering you pretty hard and you're starting to feel sore, telling your partner that, hey, I'm starting to feel sore right now. Maybe we could go a little gentler, or we could change positions. This kind of communication is going to help you build trust in the bedroom. It's going to help you achieve more pleasure, and it's going to help achieve more satisfaction for both of you, because he or your partner, whoever that is, doesn't have to spend so much time trying to read you and try to read between the lines of how you're feeling based on the sound that you're making, which, by the way, sounds are also great communication in the bedroom. giving sound as an indicator of if it's feeling great, if you're also getting hurt. Like if it goes too deep, I'll go, ah, ah. If it's really good, it sounds a little different. It sounds all sorts of things. I guess this is a good point to get into sound and talk about that. When I first started having anal sex, it's just so overwhelming, and maybe you started to have anal sex too. It's so overwhelming to your entire nervous system that you spend a lot of time trying to tell the nervous system to keep calm and everything's okay and stay cool. I know it feels like you're about to shit really hard, but you're not. Everything's cool, right? doing that and trying to communicate with that process in your body is kind of like the first step to feeling pleasure. And this is why I recommend people start slow, is because when you start slow, you can start communicating internally with your body to say, hey, like this is normal, this is okay, this is actually pleasurable, let's keep doing this. And if they start slow, you're not shocking the system. This is a great way to build up into the more hardcore, like heavy pushing kind of stuff where you're just getting fucking railed. Oh my God. Ugh. I gotta make another video for sex positions. I found the best sex position the other day and it made me orgasm hands-free. It was like the first time that's ever happened. It was just unbelievable. But what I've noticed is the best moments of my anal sex, when I'm able to do it and be able to take it pretty hard, is when we've slowly ramped into it, so the nervous system and the body sees this as normal and pleasurable and can kind of move from that point onwards to really starting to feel it. And at that point you can communicate, fuck me, or please fuck me, or communicate to encourage them to push you even harder. 2 more communication things. So the other communication thing is copulation, and another communication thing that just came to mind is how you use words and how you use that to arouse your partner and also turn yourself on so you can enjoy this more. So the first part is sound. What I've noticed is when I first started having anal sex and being a woman, wait, why did I put that in quotes? I think it's because internally sometimes one has to think, okay, like I could just make my regular noises, but I also need my partner to see me as a woman, so I can't just moan and groan like I would with a deeper voice. That just wouldn't sound right. So I also have to make the appropriate sounds of a woman while I'm doing this, right? Like you may have to think that if you are a trans woman or you want to be seen as a woman in the bedroom. And when you're trying to do this, you're focusing more on trying to make the sound right than you are on the experience and the pleasure. So what I've learned in also subconsciously just pulling this into my system is don't make noise. Don't make noise on every thrust. If he's thrusting like this, don't be like, as much as that may sound good, and you may be like, oh yeah, I'm giving communication, you're now focusing on the communication rather than the experience. And what I found more pleasurable is to allow the feeling to happen, to listen and feel that feeling in your body. And when your body wants to make a sound and wants to express itself, allow that expression to flow through your body and to just come out and just be. That is going to create more authentic moans, more authentic sounds, and more pleasure, because you're going to be able to charge up that pleasure and release it vocally and share that with your partner in a way that feels very natural and has you focusing on the experience and the pleasure and the joy of the sex, rather than, oh, I hope I pass during sex, or I hope that this person hears me right and that I don't sound like a dude or something like that. Allowing space to kind of hear and feel, it's just, you kind of just have to listen down there. Just go, okay, I'm feeling this. Okay, like that kind of thing. Oh my God, starting to feel things. And so the last thing, what was it that I was gonna say? Oh yeah, turning on your partner. How are we doing on time? Oh my gosh, okay. Well, last thing, communicating with your partner. I think I've run out of time, so we'll save that for another episode. How to communicate with your partner. No, let's do it now. Let's do it now. So the thing that I also have learned is if you talk to your partner during sex and tell them hot, sexy things that you know they like or things that you like, you can build a sense of feeling and vibe in the sexual setting that's going to arouse you and turn you on even more. So I call my partner Daddy, and we have different kinds of role-playing scenarios that we do, where sometimes I pretend I'm asleep and he's taking advantage of me, or maybe he's just big and strong, or he's just the one in power and control, and I say things that reinforce this, be saying like something like, oh my God, you're so big, Daddy, or oh, like, yes, Daddy, I love you. Yes, please put it in me. This kind of stuff. Oh my God, I want you to come. Please make me pregnant. You know, this kind of stuff is hot, and it kind of gets him going and gets me going as well. And that turns me on even more, and that turns him on more. And by doing things like this, you kind of help move along the sexual experience and increase it and create these ebbs and flows. I do this to also control my own ebb and flow of pleasure, because to start, I may just focus on the sensation and the feeling as I'm bottoming, but over time I then want to create pleasure for myself, and so then I amp it up with a little bit more spice with words, and then on top of the words then comes like physical pleasure. I may use a vibrator, that kind of stuff. So I hope this was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe. Please support me on Patreon and join our community if you'd like to become a part of it. The link is down below. I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.
That is the end of the show. We hope you join us next time for more exposure, more stupidity, and more thought-provoking topics. Only on the Anshin A Show, where your mental fitness is our business. Peace be with you always.